that we need to really look at? Is that gonna alienate the voters? Is it time?
Is this another question to me?
You can answer that one, Noel.
Well, too. So, one of the things that you'll learn about me as you get to know me is that I'm in this race because I think that we need to tell voters the truth. I think voters are ready for new voices and fresh ideas and leaders who are willing to take tough stands and to tell people the truth. Arizona's budget is $10 billion. That is not nearly enough to run a state our size. It's not just our schools that have been defunded and are being dismantled. Our economy, except for a small group of folks at the top, our economy is really making people struggle in this state. Our infrastructure outside of Maricopa County is in a shambles. There are business owners in Payson who are at the end of the cable line, who, if a squirrel chews on the cable line and the internet goes down, they can't run their businesses. I'm traveling all over the state right now, and in most parts of the state, I can't get a cell phone signal on my cell phone. This state is in such crisis right now. And I think anybody who's ever run a business or balanced a checkbook in their home knows that you can't do what you need to do without revenue. And the state of Arizona, the leaders of this state have been irresponsible. We need to focus on our revenue structure and getting our house in order, and that means raising taxes. Now, because the economy is so difficult for so many people, we're not going to raise taxes on middle-class families or the working poor or folks who are on a fixed income. We're going to raise taxes on the people who have benefited from the tax cuts for the last 3 decades. And those are the folks at the very, very top. Folks that are making $250,000 or more in income every year. Folks that are making $1 million or more. I don't think it's fair that somebody who makes $5 million a year in income pays roughly the same income tax rate as somebody who makes $50,000. And I'll tell you what, even millionaires agree with me.
So, how do you all feel about tax raises? Are you ready? Yeah. Would you vote for somebody that said, I'm going to raise your taxes? Honestly, bravely, thoughtfully said, I'm going to raise your taxes?
If there's anybody here who makes $5 million a year in income, I want to see you right after this meeting.
No, I get to say first. And Senator Farley, I'm going to go to you again because do you not sit on the Budget Committee, the Appropriations Committee, and the Finance Committee? When I work with clients and we create a strategic plan, a strategic vision, that's what sets our budget priorities. Is that what's happening in our state?
The folks who set our budget priorities are the folks that are supporting this governor at this point, a couple millionaires from Kansas. That's unfortunate. We've had our fiscal...
Are they educated?
Well, they're educated enough to look out for their own interests, but not ours. That's the problem. As the ranking member of the Finance Committee, week after week, I see lobbyists come in and ask for another break. And most people don't show up at the Finance Committee because when you talk about numbers, people's eyes glaze over. But that's when the theft happens. One of the things I've been hammering on for all 12 years there, and I've been able to develop a bipartisan support for this effort to try to work on this problem, is that there are our budget, we spend everything we spend on the state is about $10 billion a year. We give away around $13.7 billion a year in corporate sales tax loopholes alone. I've been talking about those corporate income tax cuts, those corporate property tax cuts, those tax credits, those vouchers, everything else that erodes our finances. Sales tax loopholes. If you go to a hardware store and buy a 3-inch pipe, you pay sales tax. If you go to a hardware store and buy a 4-inch pipe, you don't. Now that only makes sense if you're a corporation that buys a lot of 4-inch pipe in Arizona. So happens there is one, it's a Nevada corporation called Southwest Gas. Maybe familiar to you. Every month we pay some of our money to them. They take some of our money and they hire lobbyists and they get themselves a break in the legislature. There are 330 other corporate sales tax loopholes just like this. and they never get reviewed. If we could eliminate $3 billion worth of those, we could lower our sales tax rate by a full % while increasing education spending by $2 billion a year. And for scale, a 20% teacher raise for all educators, including support staff and teachers, would be around $750 to $780 million a year. We have the money to invest in ourselves. We've chosen to give it away. And that will end when I'm governor.
So, Dr. Garcia, does this seem to fit with your understanding of the budget, or do you believe we're going to have to defund some of the programs? And if so, which programs would you defund?
So the question we get sometimes, and the question I get, is people believe that the state's sort of out of control. And it's not, folks. This is a very specific strategic plan on behalf of Republicans to not only decimate public education, but to go after anything that's public. In education in particular, which is our largest expenditure, almost half of the state budget, the game plan has been very clear. Cut education to the bone, criticize it for not doing well, and then turn to privatization. That has been the plan in Arizona. The sad part is we've been exporting this plan now outside of Arizona because we have been the test case for that, for those bad ideas. But so why hasn't the legislature done anything? What's going on? Well, if you look at the great information that you gave us in front of you right here, take a look at a couple of things. We are 14th in growth, folks. 14th. And in labor market and participation and others, we're in the 30s and 40s. This is a specific plan on behalf of the legislature to grow, but not to grow smartly. Not to grow with high-paying jobs, good-paying jobs. Not to grow with corporations and businesses that invest back in Arizona. You're going to hear Ducey say over and over again, we're the fastest-growing county in the country. And the fact that we're the fastest-growing county in the country and can only put forward a nominal 2% raise for teachers tells us that that idea is broken, that those priorities are broken, that we need to get back to inviting and, more importantly, growing companies in Arizona that start, build, stay here, and continue to contribute back to our state. This is not about inviting companies in with big tax cuts that do not pay back into our fabric and into our public schools. This is about a smarter growth strategy that is, again, going to allow us to grow, but make sure that our labor force participation has high-wage jobs across all strata of Arizona, including rural Arizona, too, by the way. Thank you.